Hi everybody, my name is Melissa and welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking about how I'm able to read 30 books in a month. So last month in October I did a wrap-up video and I talked about the 30 books that I read. Within that video comments, as well as people messaging me, things like that, they asked how I'm able to read so much, and I've actually been thinking about doing this video for quite a while, but I just wasn't sure if I wanted to do it or if people would actually be interested in watching this. So I went ahead and compiled a little list of things that I personally do to read more / read faster. So it is possible that you've already heard these tips, or maybe you even do some of these things yourself, but I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the things that I do to read a little bit more. So the first thing that I wanna mention is definitely something that I know other people have mentioned before, and that's going back to an old favorite. So because you've already read this book previously, maybe even multiple times, you are going to read it a lot quicker than if you were exploring a new book, a new world, so on and so forth. So yes, an old favorite is definitely one thing to kind of like go back to, and there are several books that I have reread myself this year, and they do count towards your Goodreads reading challenge. So I always like to do that, especially if it's a book that I remember absolutely loving, but don't really exactly remember the, plot exactly. And for example, I did that with like Punk 57 this year by Penelope Douglas and things like that. So yeah, definitely a good reason to, up your reading challenge goal. And yeah, just is a great way to read faster and read more, is going back to an old favorite. So the other thing that I do is read really short and quick books. So that could either be novellas, or perhaps even the great place to find that is Kindle Unlimited. So Kindle Unlimited does a lot of like kind of serial short story type books, and a lot of these authors put out books that are like 100, 200 pages. I find myself reading these books very quickly because they usually end up on a cliffhanger, and as well as reading it on ebook, just flipping through the pages, I find myself reading them a lot quicker. Doesn't mean I'm retaining all of the information, because unless I'm writing a review, half the time I don't exactly remember what the book is about. But yes, this is definitely a great way to read a lot quicker and read more books. Some people may not see, these shorter stories as like quote unquote books, but personally, I still count them towards my challenge, and I still talk about them in my reading wrap-ups as individual books. And yeah, so basically this is another tip or trick that I do. The third thing that I want to talk about is DNFing books. So basically DNF means do not finish. I have become a big believer in, proudly standing by DNFing a book, because if you are not feeling it, if it's something that you are really struggling with, don't try to push through it, because ultimately you're going to get yourself into a slumpy mood. You're not going to want to pick up that book. And I have definitely found that, yeah, DNFing a book, forgetting about it, I'm moving on to something else that I do want to read, and ultimately then I'm reading that book a lot quicker. So I do DNF a lot of books, especially like in the Kindle Unlimited, genre of romances that I read, because some of them are just, not all that great and I'm not really feeling it, or maybe it's too close to something else that I've previously read. So yeah, DNFing a book is a great way to do it, because you're going to prevent yourself from getting into a slump and reading something that you're not really that interested in. And you can always pick the book up later on if you do decide that you want to go ahead and finish the book. So yeah, I strongly encourage DNFing a book if you just aren't enjoying it. So one of the biggest factors in the fact that I can read so much, or I do read so much, is that I don't really watch a lot of TV. So I might watch the occasional Netflix show or something like that, but I don't really watch any TV. We don't have cable. We have, Netflix, Hulu, things like that. Which I'm sure a lot of people do nowadays. But yeah, basically I read. Sometimes even I'll have on the TV and I'll still be reading. So yeah, that's the biggest thing, is I have a book in my hand. I am always reading. So I completely understand that this may not be a tip or trick that a lot of people can do, because I completely understand when I was in school and I was working full-time, all of that, the last thing I wanted to do was open a book and read. But personally, I found that it was a great way to escape from everything that was going on. So that is what I found worked for me. But sometimes I do have days where I get home and I'm just like, I don't even want to think. I just want to put on the TV, watch a great, romantic comedy or whatever the case may be, especially during the holidays. Netflix has a lot of them. But yeah, that is one of the biggest things, is I am constantly reading and don't watch that much TV. So the fifth kind of like goes along with the previous one, and that's any type of downtime you are reading. So like, for example, I am always reading if I'm waiting on a doctor's appointment, or if I'm going to get my hair cut, or just anything. So pretty much, I have my phone, I have my Kindle app on here, or I might bring a physical book whatever it is. And yeah, I'm constantly reading. So I might get a couple pages in here and there, but like I said, I'm always kind of like devouring this information and reading and all of that good stuff. Not very social of me, but yeah, pretty much everybody's on their phone nowadays, so I don't feel too bad. And yeah, I just kind of like always am reading when I'm out in public too. So yeah, I'm that person. Okay, so number 6 is reading contemporary books. So I find myself reading romance books a lot quicker than if I picked up a fantasy book. That's because, you know, you're ultimately reading about a world that you already know. You're not learning a new magic system. You're not learning like how all the politics are in a new world. You're not learning about whatever the case may be, because it's essentially rooted in something we already know. So that's how I can read a lot more contemporary romances, because it's a world I already know, and yeah, it's just pretty easy, and you're not having to worry about some world building, and they're not usually 1,000-page books like you get with the Stormlight Archives by Brandon Sanderson. So the last one is something that I don't normally always do. I do have the Audible subscription, so occasionally I will pick up an audiobook. So normally, you know, when I'm driving around, I listen to music. So lately I've been using my Audible credit and my books to complete, you know, these readathons that are all happening in November and December. And I've been having a lot of fun listening to them, and I listen to books while I'm getting ready. So like I said, I'm constantly, you know, getting this reading in all at the same time. So audiobooks are a definite way to go, and you can speed it up like 2 times. I think there's even like 3 times the speed, which is absolutely crazy. I listen to mine 1.25 max because yeah, I definitely like, I have to be able to like sit there and like soak in the, you know, narrator. I can't, you know, just have words coming at me. So yeah, definitely audiobooks are a great way to read a lot quicker. Alrighty guys, thank you so much for watching my tips to read more books, read faster, something like that. But yeah, these are things that I personally do. Again, these might not work for everyone, or maybe you're already doing these. And if you have any tips or tricks to read more or read faster, I would love to hear about it, or even talk about books that you like going back to and rereading. I would love to hear about it and chat about it in the comments down below. And I hope you have a great day and happy reading. Bye!